It was meant to be her crowning personal revelation, an acknowledgement of ethnic identity that would forever reshape Meghan Markle's public persona and cement her standing as a champion for mixed-race empowerment on the global stage. Instead, the Duchess of Sussex's bombshell disclosure that she is 43% Nigerian has ignited a conflagration of outrage and cultural appropriation accusations after acclaimed author Zara Akintumide came forward with allegations that Meghan duplicitously lifted the ethnic ancestry claims from her own work and lived experiences. I was appalled, deeply disturbed, when Meghan made those statements about being of Nigerian descent during her podcast interview, Akintumide, whose transcendent memoir rooted, Tracing the Braided Lineage of My Foremother's Truth had become a critically lauded exploration of diasporic genealogy, recounted during an emotional press conference. Because she didn't just co-opt some trivial narrative thread, she stole the very specificities of my own ancestral makeup and cultural identity, the intimately personal heritage I've spent my life's energies striving to honor and elevate through my writing. According to Akintumide, segments from the debut episode of Meghan's Archetype Spotify series that were intended to reveal her personal journey of ancestral self-discovery contained a disturbing number of parallels and echoed assertions that seemed directly lifted from the passages and interview transcripts surrounding her memoir's release. From the precise 43% statistic purporting her Nigerian bloodlines to the intricate geographical lineages and tribal identities tracing the author's own roots through the Igbo and Yoruba peoples, Akintumide insisted Meghan's entire revelatory preamble reflected a calculated act of plagiarism and identity appropriation, not altruistic truth-sharing. I put years of blood, sweat and tears into chronicling my family's history and giving voice to our origins from the Nigerian interior, the author continued, visibly shaken by the vortex of emotion surrounding the controversy. To see Meghan so brazenly regurgitate those most sacred and personally intimate elements as if they were her own lived experiences is an unspeakable violation, one that reeks of predatory opportunism, not allyship. As footage from the Archetypes episode that had catalyzed the furor-saturated television broadcasts and online platforms, outraged viewers' own disbelief mushroomed in parallel with the steadily amplifying allegations. Watching the Duchess of Sussex narrate what seemed innocuous ancestral tributaries was suddenly layered with the disquieting artifice of grand-scale prevarication and cultural ventriloquism through the lens of Akintumide's accusations. There can be no mistaking the cadences and verbatim phrasing here, the author's representatives shared in a media statement laced with indignation. From highlighting the precise 43% metric as Meghan did to the details surrounding her supposed progenitors' experiences as Christian minoritarian tribesfolk and their conversions from indigenous Yoruba faiths during the colonial period, these are elevated verbatim, line for line, from Zara's own memoirs. Though we'd be willing to perhaps accept a charitable interpretation if even one aspect of Meghan's background claims differed from our work's documentation, the sheer, plagiarizing precision on display here is far too on the nose to dismiss as anything but brazenly willful appropriation. In the aftermath, a furor erupted across social media platforms and cultural criticism spheres as users and voices across the ideological spectrum weighed in with appraisals ranging from outraged condemnation to cautious skepticism. Yet even among Meghan's staunchest defenders, few were willing to sidestep allegations of ethics breaches and exploitation so potentially damaging to her credibility and standing as an advocate and voice for the marginalized. While some insisted on reserving judgment pending the Duchess' own explanations, her prolonged public silence and the mounting body of evidence on display made even the most forgiving interpretations appear increasingly implausible with each passing news cycle. I don't know how she's going to spin her way out of something this unambiguously disreputable and antisocial, British journalist Omara Ransd remarked during a panel on Talk TV. The snippets we're all seeing leave no doubt. Meghan entirely propped up her supposed ancestral coming-of-age journey on the scholarly research and first-hand experiences of a living author. We're not dealing with a simple overstatement of heritage or erroneous family.